And here we are again, back for another segment of The Pulse with the Family Bloodline Network. And I'm glad I waited to start talking about a couple other topics that we'll talk about tonight, because there's nothing that happens faster in America than change, especially when it comes to this administration and its many different headlines. So, with that being said, real quick, Rich, how are you doing? How's your week been?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Lynn, how about yourself?
Can't complain. It's been a good week so far. It's hump day.
Yep, it is. Indeed, it is. And you guys got a 3-day. Well, do you have a 3-day work week coming up? Or 4-day work week? Y'all no? Okay. You got it. Got it.
Probably, but you know what? See, for us, Monday is a good day to catch up with some folks.
Okay.
That are always ripping and running and whatever. So believe it or not, people, there's a handful of people that want us to reach out to them on Monday. They'll be off, and they can, they can do some things.
Okay. All right. Has business essentially been steady as things have progressed?
Yeah. We're right now. We're still running down people that said next year, January. Hit me up first week in January. We're still running those people down. It's hit or miss, but new stuff continues. Like you hit me up the other day with a referral. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And got a call this morning from a client who realized he hadn't been paying a premium for 3 years. So we had to scramble and
my goodness,
and do some things. So you just never know. That's one thing I love about this business. 33 years, almost every day, I'm still learning. We're probably going to finish up with our second sickle cell case. I mean, getting somebody covered with sickle cell is
tough.
More difficult than somebody with HIV. As
What?
crazy as that sounds, yes. As crazy as that sounds, you got age requirements, you got all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, I'm learning a lot about the condition. There's two types. I'll just call them A and B. And of course, B is worse than A. So insurance companies, first thing want to know, do they have A or do they have B? And, if they got B, then they don't want it. It's been crazy, but I've been learning a lot. And this all started from a conversation at a birthday dinner where a guy told me he was uninsurable. And I just said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
And, this is going to be a couple $1 million of coverage. So it's extremely difficult. Yeah.
Wow.
Extremely difficult. But I love it. Because I'm wondering what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, that's a lot going on with it.
Yeah. And Obamacare or ACA, the deadline is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, but if some things break a certain way and those subsidies come back, 3 more months. So it's like tomorrow's going to be like Groundhog Day for some folks, like 3 more months of covering people. Yeah. So remember we thought it was dead? Remember how we was talking?
Yeah.
Before the shutdown, during the shutdown, then right after the shutdown with the 7 Democrats and 1 independent. And then we said there's no way they're going to vote to do it. And now,
they're trying to get to it.
Keep living. Just keep living. Because, trying to call stuff, it's what do you call it? Just roll the dice.
Man, It's a lot happening. I'm looking down right now because I am also using my phone since, again, I'm still not at home to try and get everything out. I am listening, though. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I am listening.
Gotcha.
So we started talking. I want to go ahead and push us forward. We started talking last week about the late Renee Good. And as things have begun to play out and videos have begun to circulate around X, multiple different outlets, angles, and everything, so on and so forth, have your views changed in the last week? Rich, I'll start with you.
First, Rich?
So I don't think my views have changed. I don't believe she should have been shot.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that they were interfering with law enforcement. I mean, with ICE agent, law enforcement. But I still don't believe she should have been shot. And I know they're trying to dig into her. Now they're claiming that her wife isn't her wife. That's called discredit the victim.
Oh, they're saying the wife isn't the wife?
That's alleged.
Right. No, I was just trying to see if I heard you right.
Yeah, because I can't verify that source.
Right.
But anytime a bad shooting happens with law enforcement, they have to discredit the person. Either you're on drugs, you're a terrorist. In her case, she was interfering. Her and her spouse were, kind of agitating. But I'll stop by saying this. When that whole video came out and she was like, I'm not mad at you guys, and she was smiling, I said, uh-oh. So she's not angry and she's not a Karen. And finally, no one's mentioned this. I think she has Down syndrome.
Who, the driver?
No. Renee Nicole.
The wife?
No, the one who got shot, Renee Nicole Good.
The driver.
Oh.
Yeah,
the driver.
I think she has Down syndrome.
Whoa.
But because the way her smile is, the way she looks, like anybody who's been around people who have Down syndrome, they have a certain kind of glazed look.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we're not trying to say anything negative about her.
Yeah.
But if that does come out that she had Down syndrome and you shot her.
Now, I think if she had Down syndrome, diagnosed Down syndrome, it would have been.
Well, when you take a look at her,
been out there.
Well, if she doesn't have Down syndrome, then that's the prettiest youngest.
She might have something.
That's the prettiest youngest white woman I've ever seen because she has a face like an 8-year-old. She does. I mean, in fact, I'll look it up and see how old she is because she looks.
I think she's 35.
But she don't look 35. Renee Nicole Good. She does not look 35.
Yeah.
Oh, but she's 37. She
37. 37. Okay.
That's what they're. Now they're saying that the partner is just Becca Good. The partner.
Just a what?
Becca Good. The partner. The other lady on the other side, her partner.
The one that was outside the car.
Yes. So now they're calling her just the partner, not the wife. But I really want to know, does she have Down syndrome?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything come out that says that she had Down syndrome.
Health. I'm gonna put health issues, and then I'm gonna see what pops up.
And so let's just go with what you think, right?
Okay.
What would that change?
Well, when they played the whole video, she wasn't being aggressive. Now maybe her partner or wife, Becca Good, was agitating, talking about pack a lunch or something, big boy. But when I see her smiling and she has a stocking hat on, a hat on, and she's smiling and she looks so young. I just don't think if this went in front of a jury, I think the cop would well, I don't know.
It's tough to say.
I don't know. Because if you have a conservative jury, which can you get a conservative jury in the federal court in Minneapolis? I don't think so. No.
I think you can.
Okay.
It depends on the county, I believe.
Yeah, because look, you gotta remember,
Richard,
you gotta remember who's filling out there when they get their jury duty cards in the mail. Who's filling them puppies out?
No comment.
There you go.
There you go.
Look,
there you go.
End up in that piece if you want to.
Because I want to be careful. I want to be really careful what I say tonight about her, and then when we get into the situation, possibly with maybe Iran.
Yep, we'll touch on that also.
With my words tonight, I have my reasons. But I just wish that I'm like a lot of Americans. I wish she was not dead, and you want to enforce the law. You say there's too many illegal immigrants here. The shooting was not necessarily needed. As she was leaving the situation, from what I've seen, she should have been tracked down and arrested on multiple charges. So, Mr. Biggs, they say the officer, ICE agent who shot her, she tried to turn to the right, but it was in front of the vehicle, kind of halfway. They do not have a row. Okay, so everyone's right. I'm not fighting this tonight. Not tonight. Nope.
Okay. No. Well, Lynn, where are you at with it?
I am same place. For me, I'm just the facts jack. So I'm looking at the video. I'm looking at the wheel turn action, which speaks to me. This is not someone trying to mow down someone in front of them. Because if you're trying to run over someone in front of you, you're not turning the wheel.
Yep.
If they're in front of you, that wheel stays straight and you accelerate. This woman was not accelerating. She was 10-2, 10-2, 10-2, and drove off.
That's a good point.
That's what I saw. So I love when there's video and they got multiple angles all over the place. Now, to Richard's point, the partner, the wife, whatever, she was not only interfering, but antagonizing, law enforcement. And for me, that's never smart. For me, and maybe it's the military in me, maybe it's, growing up in the hood and knowing, 12 is the man. For me, I've always been yes officer, no officer, whatever. I've never told a cop you don't need to see my ID. I'm not that dude. Even though they don't.
Hey, and you know what? I want everybody to hear this. Me and Lynn, when we disagree strongly. But what he just said, I strongly agree with. And Mr. Glass talked about it last year when Trump took office again. He said, don't get out here in these streets and be protesting and think you won't catch some heat, because you will. If you don't do it perfectly.
For me, that's not smart. And it's like those folks only get it when they're in jail and their lives are turned upside down. Then all of a sudden, we saw it with the January 6th people. All of a sudden, common sense was ruling the day for them. Like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? Why was I here? So, when you antagonize, I tell people this all the time. I said, look, right or wrong, if they have a badge in this place, if they tell you to do something, it's in your best interest to do it.
And one quick, listen to this. Because a lot of people get mad when I say, if an officer pulls you over, he's right, or whether she's right or wrong, do what they tell you to do. I would rather be tried by 12
than carried by 6. Look at you, Mr. Q.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, Ice Q.
I mean, that's the second time him and I have agreed tonight. So this is really critical. This is really showtime.
So let me
people are watching this saying, "Oh, they didn't scripted this because these two
right.
these dudes are yelling
those
over
arguments
each other,
too, right? And look,
know,
those
and now all of a
arguments
sudden they
about
agree to,
Joel Osteen and all the rest of that. That's scripted too, right?
Right. So let me actually to my fellow vet Philip Shipley, because this becomes the hypocrisy of America in the wake of everything that's happening. When it was Charlie Kirk, ... ellipses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's someone who may have had a difference of opinion politically, damn good shots, right? And so the hypocrisy of the political spectrum is continuing, in my opinion, to show and rear its ugly head. And like I've said before, when America does these things, and then it calls itself a Christian nation, it's really showing how they interact with their definition of deity inside of Christianity. Those types of things and these types of situations don't call for, my side got one off. Instead, we should all be looking at what Chris McGraw described as ROE, rules of engagement, and policy that comes from the top that allows for ICE agent to draw their weapon and fatally wound somebody. Now, unfortunately for the officer, there is the DHS policy that states that ICE agents cannot kill someone or fire on someone just because of a vehicle. That there has to be another weapon present in order for them to draw down on them in these types of situations.
I don't think it's that straightforward.
Oh, it's straightforward. It's absolutely straightforward.
I watched that on TV.
If I was at home, I'd pull it up because I looked at the actual policy.
No, I looked at the policy too, because we were running the whole policy down with the experts on Chris Cuomo's show. It tells you that the officer should never put himself in front of the vehicle.
Right, that's part of it.
The officer is supposed to always try to de-escalate, whether it's ICE. Anytime a law enforcement officer is trained to de-escalate the situation, and that they're not supposed to put themselves in front of the vehicle. That's the second thing. But if the officer feels like in a split moment, okay.
And
so okay, go ahead. So that's why I'm being very calm tonight, because some people on here have worked in law enforcement. Okay, but I'm not going to disrespect that because we're military, so we're going to respect other people, whether they're military or law enforcement.
Absolutely.
And we were not there at that particular situation to understand what was going through his head if he felt his life was in danger.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
I'm of the opportunity that she was not driving at him; she was driving away from him.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So under those circumstances, this woman did not deserve to be shot at or shot. Period. And it's not just shot, but it's shot and killed.
Well, I think all these people on here who have law enforcement experience, the way I was taught by law enforcement, if they draw and they have to shoot, they shoot to kill. They can't shoot to injure because then that's a civil suit. Now that's the way I was taught by law enforcement.
Are they told not to shoot to injure because of getting sued, or because the person can still shoot back at you?
I think there's a number of questions. They say if an officer pulls out the weapon to shoot you, he's shooting to kill. Period. So when this Philip Shipley. Now, that's the way I was taught by law enforcement. It's almost like it's very similar to a street code. If you're carrying a firearm or your gun on you, you don't pull it unless you're going to kill someone.
Unless you're going to shoot, not shoot to kill. The streets is not shoot to kill.
No,
It's,
no,
it's,
no.
pull it. Don't pull it unless you're gonna use it.
The
Don't pull it unless you're gonna
shoot.
use it.
If you
No,
pull it out,
well,
you're gonna use it. Stop.
Well, then,
Full stop.
Well, then I don't know about. I can't talk for Philadelphia, but in St. Louis, they teach you if you pull that gun in St. Louis,
Shoot to kill.
you're not carrying a licensed firearm.
Right.
You just out here thugging. You pull it,
shoot to kill.
Then you're shooting somebody to kill them.
Gotcha.
Ain't no warning shot.
Gotcha.
But let me throw this out here about Charlie, good old Charlie. Charlie might not have been driving a physical vehicle, but he was driving a vehicle and that rode off the engine and that was fueled by hate. Make no mistake about it. No mistake about it. Right. So I understand physically the physical aspects of what you're saying, Ship, but comparably, what I'm saying is a death is a death. And instead of actually acting in a humane fashion and at least trying to respect, I would think that you all would have picked some type of sensibilities of that up, but you haven't. And it's still a continuous cycle of, we got one. Instead of, damn, America just lost one. We didn't celebrate Charlie Kirk being killed, right?
Good point.
Just like I'm not celebrating Renee Good being killed. There has to, at some point, there has to be a sense of humanity that's injected in your thought patterns. That's all. Oh, my bad, Zoe. That's what I'm getting at, Ship. Oh, thank you for the answer as well. This is what he's saying. Officers are trained to shoot lethally. They are not trained to wound. Never aim a firearm unless you plan to kill what you're aiming at.
That's what I was talking about, law enforcement. So
right. No, when you threw in the lawsuit part, I'm trying to imagine being at the academy and somebody telling me about being sued. Like that's all I was saying when you was talking about the lawsuit part. I get it. If you pull your gun out, like most police officers have never shot their gun.
You're absolutely correct. So when Mr. Ship said that, when the law enforcement told me about that, he said, if you're not shooting, if a policeman or policewoman pulls out their firearm to shoot, they have to shoot to kill. Because if they're just shooting to injure you or maim you, that's a guaranteed civil lawsuit that the person who they shot to injure will collect.
Well, hold on. Killing me is not.
You know what?
This is not a lawsuit.
I tell you what, Lynn. Hey, Mr. Glass.
Yep.
You asked Mr. Shipley what I just said.
Listen, I know, but all I'm saying is, killing me is a lawsuit as well.
It is. It's possible.
That's all I'm saying.
Possible.
No, you're right. But I'm saying if a police officer shoots and kills me, he may or she may get off. But if they didn't shoot me in my shoulder to slow me down, I'm guaranteed with my one shoulder to get paid. I'm guaranteed.
So I don't think I was taking your celebration wrong, because you made statements prior to the last one that hinted at celebration, especially them being good shots. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not judging you for that, but I want to be honest and hold you to the fire about your comments. You put it out there already, right?
Yeah.
So it's being honest about what you stated, and it's okay, right? It's your opinion, and we're not dogging you on your opinion. It's a conversation and comments, so on and so forth. I don't dislike you, right, because of your comments. I still think you're a good guy, Ship. From the time I met you, even until now, we might have a difference of opinion, but I don't think you're like the vilest of vile people. I don't want you to. That's not how we do things here, right? So I just want to throw that out there.
Well, thanks for having me, the Family Bloodline, once again with a
Happy New Year, my brother.
Happy New Year, guys.
Your volume is low.
Yeah, your volume. Let me see if I can help that.
Can you guys hear me now?
A
Yeah,
lot better. Ton better.
Okay. So yeah, Happy New Year, guys. This whole situation that recently happened, I believe it makes both sides look a little too extreme. For what? It's because I guess if you're looking at it like a lawyer, from a lawyer's point of view, the state has more to lose because the state has the responsibility to take care of its citizens and have protocols so citizens are not intervening. But right now, since there's a power struggle to be like, we got to do something about this, this extremism. It's like extremism against extremism, and it makes the whole situation look really goofy if you take a step back. I'm not saying that it's not tragic or anything like that. It's everything about this is tragic, but at the other sense of it all, since Americans have been desensitized so much, social media the past 20 years has brainwashed people into thinking like this is a video game. Like, oh, cool, that lady just got blasted. Because there's a lot of Beavis and Buttheads out there.
I like that reference.
And it's like we're not getting the scope that this can be a slippery slope. This could easily be any one of us if you're just not paying attention, or if you're just panic in a situation.
Come back to your mic.
If you're just not basically, if you're not paying attention, this could happen to any one of us if they catch you on the wrong side of what have you, making the wrong decision. This lady if she would have just put her hands up, froze, it would have been probably safer, when they were trying to open the door for her. But instead, she didn't have no awareness that there was a police officer going around the back.
So let me jump in there real quick. He wasn't trying to open the door for her. Right?
Well, you know what I mean?
He was trying to get at her.
Yeah, we have to describe it right.
What kills me about the law enforcement thing is the law enforcement officers, they panic.
Yeah, they're human.
You know who panics more than them? The civilian.
Sure.
Yeah.
The civilian panics. I tell you, I lost a cousin. He got pulled over a DUI, and he did not want to go to jail. And somehow he got control of the officer's taser. And this is another thing I learned. Once I take control of the taser, all of a sudden, when the cop has the taser, it's not a deadly weapon, is it?
No.
But once I have the taser, it metamorphosizes into a deadly weapon, and now they are legally able to kill you.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, don't ever take control of the taser. That ain't killing nobody, but it will get you killed.
Yeah, absolutely. This part, absolutely sorry for the loss.
What people don't understand is, thank you, Isaac. What people don't understand is, we as civilians panic. I've had a gun pulled on me at a traffic stop. I was in a convertible and I reached for the glove box. And he reached and was boom, on me. And I'm giving you the information that you need.
Damn.
And you know what's the worst thing about that traffic stop? No ticket.
Hey, now,
no ticket.
Listen, Lynn, Mr. Glass knows. Mr. Glass knows years ago what kind of cars I used to drive.
Yeah.
He knows how tinted out they were, and I never had that situation. You know why? Because someone had taught me. My windows are limo tinted. If I see a cop, I know he's turning around. He's coming, and I need to get over as quickly as possible once he turns them sirens on. And when I get over as quickly as possible, safely, I'm not riding 10 to 15 minutes. No. That's resisting arrest. Right. When I pull over, what's the first thing I do? I drop those windows, all four, and them hands go out. So when he shoots me, I'm gonna fall off on the side of the door. I ain't reaching, because if I reach for something, I just got shot. Now, some black men, and I hate the white people who are watching this, they don't quite understand this. But as a black man in this country, my hands go out the window wide. I'm not reaching for anything. Ain't gonna be no problems tonight for me. Now, we may have a lawsuit coming.
And I bet you when you pull over swiftly, you got a thank you from the officer, didn't you?
I get a crazed look because I put my hands up. And you're like,
but I've gotten thank yous for not having me having.
And they know right away. Oh,
I'm like, look,
you have a record? You have a record? Oh, yes, I do, Your Honor. Yes, I do, officer. Oh, you do? Oh, okay. So you kind of know the procedure. Yes, I do. All right. Go on and get your driver's license. And
So let me read. This is the AR overview because again, I'm not at my computer to where I would usually pull the whole policy up in PDF form and share it on screen. But the AR overview of the DHS policy that dictates Leo when they can use deadly force. And so there's a portion on here that's talking about moving vehicles. And it says shooting at a moving vehicle is prohibited unless deadly force is used by the driver by means other than the vehicle.
So they're driving past you and shooting at you.
Or if the vehicle poses an imminent threat and no other reasonable option is available. Moving out of the way is a reasonable option. But let me continue because I don't want to just read part of it. I want to read the whole thing. Officers should avoid placing themselves in a position where deadly force is the only option. Experts also emphasize that officers should not create a justification for deadly force by placing themselves in the path of a vehicle.
Wow.
I just wanted to read that, and just so y'all know, this is what I'm.
No, I believe that.
But they're not going to play that playbook.
What Mr. Shipley said. See, here's the conflict. What Mr. Shipley said: if any law enforcement feels their life is in danger, and I guess within reason, that means call your lawyer,
right?
Well, then they can do what they got to do. So if this went to court and that ICE agent was being tried, you would hear both sets of arguments, and then the jury would try to figure out who's telling the most truth.
Sure. But I just wanted to read. I just wanted to read what I was talking about earlier, so it wasn't just my opinion being put out there. And also we have to remember that ICE agents are different than police officers. Right, state and federal, they have two different purposes. We've got to continue to keep that in mind. Wow. Not right, because they have different jurisdictions depending on the events that are happening. Right now, if they see a crime taking place, if ICE agents see a crime taking place, they can intervene. However, if it's like a normal state type of crime, they're not going to pull you over in your vehicle and give you a ticket.
Right. So your car being in the middle of the street is not
interfering
ICE agent purview.
You know what?
Because then they would have Ice-T on the back, which would
traffic.
Right. Then they'd be Ice-T agents. And I just made that up as I was saying it. Ice-T agents.
But I got a
that's
question.
Not what they do.
I got a big question because right away when this whole thing happened, why did the executive office right away say that the officer had immunity, or like everything had been reviewed, like investigated, and they completely like give this guy, oh, it's cool, dog, it's all good. You had a bad day you got run over last summer. We could understand, But those videos were very conflicted because there was one that was played from far away, and then there was one that was played by the officer that he was having his phone, and the one on his phone looked like he did get hit, but almost kind of like he hit the car with his hand. So like he didn't try to, and then at the end when he called her an FMB, the whole thing kind of looked like, bro, like, this ain't Contra, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you really just like did that. And apparently, I think there was maybe a silent whistle being called that, like, at this point, it's all systems go. We already doing what we're gonna do, and you go ahead and do it while you can, kind of deal. Because it was extremely violent.
And so again, if Jason, if that's the the overall feel of play stupid games, win stupid prizes, Charlie Kirk.
Oh, that's
He was-
different.
It's always different,
I
right?
know. That's different. That's different.
Now this comment, Chip, like I will give you an honest opinion, like, and I don't disagree with that. PTSD is real. He probably did fear he was going to end up in the same situation. None of us know what's going on in his mind. And so what he's referring to there is apparently that same officer had been drugged down the street by a vehicle that had his arm trapped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that, I believe that incident happened in July.
Last year.
Yeah. So he finds himself in another situation. And so I listen, human instinct kicks in. Sometimes overreaction is a thing. And especially when you have a specific form of training, it becomes second nature, right? So if
he wasn't very second nature to begin with. If his ass got run over like a couple weeks ago, and then his ass ran in front of the car, and you know what I mean, like
because his arm got trapped. You know why his arm got trapped? Because he reached inside the car.
This wouldn't happen if he just mind his damn business. Both of these people, but this is not where we're at. We're going knocking door to door, looking for the bad hombres. And there was no bad hombres near to be found.
Oh, well, now remember we had this conversation months ago. And when President Trump says bad hombre, that's translation. If you're here in this country illegally, you're a bad hombre, you're a bad Somalian, you're from a shithole country in Africa. That entails everything. That's what that entails.
But again, let me clarify this point, because the message continues to get lost, and it's not from a lack of hearing what I'm saying, it's from a lack of wanting to accept what I'm saying. Nobody celebrated Charlie Kirk, right? We didn't go out in the streets. I don't care what everybody else did. We didn't do that. But if it's such an easy thing for you to say about this young lady, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, fuck around, find out. She shouldn't have been there. If she wasn't there, she wouldn't have yada, 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 yada. And the question that I continue to have is, what is that doing? And why are these things being said? Is it to justify what you think should have happened and throw your morals out the window? Because again, when you begin to throw your morals out the window, your deity is on trial at that point. And if you're telling me that Charlie Kirk was outside preaching Christian rhetoric, your deity is on trial through Charlie Kirk. And all the hatred that he spewed, all the division that he sowed, all the confusion. If your God, Shipley, is not a God of confusion, then why is Charlie Kirk doing this? Why was he doing that? Why was he even at the college campus that he was at just to stir up trouble? Right? Let's not like sugarcoat this shit. He had no good intent for people that did not look like him. He had a very broad message of hatred. He was pushing and pulling the chains of white Christian nationalism. And so if you have this type of hate rhetoric, this rhetoric towards good, then you should be able to apply it towards Charlie Kirk as well. Otherwise, you should simply say thoughts and prayers for the family, because that's what you want for your guy. And you can't do it. You can't bring yourself to do it. And again, that's why I keep saying this is the hypocrisy of America showing up again. It never fails. It never fails. The political identity is so deeply ingrained. That's why I often say I'm an independent, but it's so deeply ingrained that as soon as Kristi Noem came out with the lie, everybody sucked it in, and she lied. She flat out lied about the situation she had. Now I don't blame her, because if my guy's about to get in trouble and I'm the boss, I'm going to do my best to try and provide some cover also. But this rhetoric that continues to go back and forth, that's what I'm getting at. That's why I keep bringing it back to Charlie Kirk.
So, and I'm not defending Charlie Kirk. My thing is this. he said some things about, I think, black women and their intellectual abilities. But yet, in the same hand, him and Candace Owens were tight as heck. And when Candace Owens started really digging in about why they killed Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, had to call her and say, hey,
calm it down.
Call you a lie. Let's talk about this off record and let's make peace. So Candace Owens was bringing the heat, but yet she swears that she and Charlie Kirk were best friends, best buddies. So on one hand, he was saying things that could be considered racist.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Isn't this a little bit different in the sense that one is a political machine, and this thing, this thing in Minnesota was basically were they paid people? Were they in an actual organization? Because I feel like the Kirk situation was like actual programming, forefronting like the future of MAGA people, like the young Trump, right? In college campuses, the rhetoric, the propaganda, and extremism took them out, right? In this situation, it was the government, whatever excuse that they had, that took this lady out. But why are people so upset about it is the fact that the guy was probably not ready to be out in the field. They put him out in the field either way because the whole job is extremely hazardous, like none other. But if you're a thrill seeker, to me, the dude didn't seem like he was like, oh, snap, what did I do? It was more like, it was either me or you, and my mindset shown. You know, it looked really bad, no matter what, you know?
Yeah, I think he needs a desk at this point.
Yeah,
I think he needs a desk.
V, my man.
I read somewhere today that he has internal injuries from this incident.
I was gonna bring that up in a second. Although we saw him walking away from the incident, that does not mean that he could not have sustained injuries. But yes, I want to say, what time is it? 7. So probably 8 or 9 hours ago, there was a report that came out that he sustained internal bleeding after being taken to the hospital. V, come on, man, hop in here. You know how we do it.
Hey, team. Hey, it's V.
My
Appreciate
man.
you guys having me on, man.
Always.
Hey, so my comment wasn't directly just to be like absolutely just malicious or negative or gross, right? And the reason why I bring that up is for the fact that if you look at, and let's kind of like flip the script a little bit, right? You have protesters who are in the middle of the road, right? And then you have these moms and you have these dads trying to go down this road, but you have all these protesters, right? And all the when you have so many people, and when you look at it, it's aggressive, right? If it's me or anybody, having other people literally surrounding your car, won't let you go through, that is aggressive. So my question is, if that individual were to drive through that crowd because they feel threatened, how does that play out, right? Is it self-defense because I feel threatened, but what they don't see is the 2 kids in the car seat? Or are they charged for nuisance for blocking the roadway, which they can't do, right?
And so I think on that's a multifaceted question. I absolutely appreciate it. And so it depends on where the protest is being held and if they had a license to do it, right? If they had a license to do it and they're in the streets, well then yeah, they can be in the streets, and whoever's driving down that street, they're in the wrong, right? Now, conversely, if they are blocking the streets, and because there was some protests a couple of decades ago in St. Louis where they shut down the highway. There were protesters that shut down the highway. And now we begin to get into somewhat of a moral issue, understanding that people fear for your life. The question that I have is, if you're fearing for your life, does that mean that you need to cause harm to someone else and take their lives? Or do you actually have to figure out what it is you're afraid of and why?
Absolutely.
Not now.
No, that's a great question, right? So for somebody to block off a road, to block off a piece of grass, right? Or a piece of property that has grass, you have to get a permit, right?
Right.
Sidewalk is a public space, right?
Correct.
That road, which is probably not going to be a farmer's market, is still going to be a public road all the way through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you can't protest peacefully by walking down a public road.
I don't disagree with that point.
So
I don't disagree with that point at
some
all.
people have protested peacefully by blocking traffic. They did it peacefully, but that's still a hazard that they could have been arrested for.
It's nuisance. In all reality, it is nuisance, right?
Yeah.
It is nuisance. So, and again, not saying me, general, I would stop, figure out, I'd assess the situation, see what's going on. If I could, which you can't, because like, depending on where you're at, like you're stuck where you're at, right? I just saw a video the other day, a couple videos, right, of protesters who didn't have permit, middle of the road. I believe it was showed like 4 or 5 different, different videos. There was a angry African American black guy, angry Mexican guy, right, trying to get through so they can pick up their daughter from school, but they couldn't because the road was blocked.
Yep.
And so the individual came out because guess what? That's his baby, right? He's got to get to his baby.
Yeah.
So at what point do we look at the whole, like, hey, guess what? Should that woman been shot in the head? Absolutely not. Or shot wherever she was shot at? Absolutely not. But guess what? Her wife, right? Her wife, who sat there and agged it on, which I would love to see her, like, supposedly she has the best footage, which nobody has seen currently, right?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
But you know what, V? I saw that video where that black man got out the car and started pushing people so he could get to his child.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about that. And I was taught this, kept me alive. Anytime you open your mouth or put your hands on somebody in the street, I want you to be prepared to give your life. Somebody had to blow his head off. I don't want to hear someone saying, well, they didn't have to shoot him. When you open your mouth and get into a confrontation in these streets of America, well, wait a minute. You can go out to the country and get blown away just as well in today's society. So anytime you're out in public and you open your mouth and get into a confrontation and you put your hands on somebody.
Yeah. Not only that, what does he do once he has his daughter and it's time to exit stage right? You're not thinking all that through.
And if those people had been Black Lives Matter marchers, a lot of young African Americans, and he would have got out of his car and put his hands on a brother, and there's 10, 20 more of them. No, I don't think so. So you pick and choose when you want to put your hands on somebody out here in these streets if you're smart. So he chose, he sized up the situation and said, I can get out my car and put my hands on somebody. Now, maybe he was strapped up, but it doesn't even matter. So he sized it up and said, I can put my hands on this person and get away with it. But I guarantee you, if that had been a Black Lives Matter protest or a bunch of black folks marching down the street, and you got out your car and put your hands on somebody, it's on. I can guarantee you that.
So earlier today,
and I agree with you 100%. And again, that mindset might be that fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
At that time,
Or
nobody
freeze.
knows what you're feeling in that moment. Hey, Glass, I think we can't hear you, brother. Just give you a heads up.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
I can hear him.
You can hear him?
Oh.
Okay, I can't hear him. Maybe he just muted me.
No, I stopped so that you could talk.
I'm just kidding. I can't hear him.
Oh, I could have kept going, Jason. But and I don't know what's going on, but I will say this, and this is anecdotal, but it actually happened today. I went to go pick my son up. Again, I'm still here in Arizona. Got another couple of weeks, right? And I took a different way to actually go get him. And the street was blocked off by ICE, as a matter of fact, at someone's home, not even 100 meters away from my son's school. You know what I did? I found an alternate route. Now, I had the ability to do that because of the lay of the land here, but I went around and I parked further down the street. I walked to the school. I got my son, and we went and hung out at the park for a while. Right. So if there's an alternate route, please take it. Yeah. Listen, we're human. And the most unpredictable thing in this world is human response. Because we never know. We really never know.
But
I want to touch on another topic before I have to go, because I got to get my babies to sleep here. My son likes to fight me and go on to sleep. And so I wanted to talk about Jerome Powell and the DOJ. However, I want to talk. Let me pull you up and make sure before we move on. All right, can you hear me, V?
I got you. Appreciate it.
You put yourself on mute.
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Now we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I know you're saying something.
Yeah,
I can hear him.
Oh, y'all can hear him?
I can hear him.
Glass, it's me and you, man. For some reason, we're missing.
Keep going.
Yep. So I'm sorry. What was the question? I had to restart it. Yeah. Was there a question asked? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Now,
Yeah.
the glass is muted and frozen. Unfrozen, but still muted. Unmuted.
Yeah. Nah, I can't hear you, but that don't mean that you got to stop. Go ahead and make your
If he
points. And I'm
wants you
sure.
to say what you have to say.
I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
Well, while B is trying to figure out what he wants to say, remember when Trump took office again in January, and he asked everyone who was here illegally to self-report or self. While B is trying to figure out what he wants to say. President Trump said, "I want you to self-report if you're here illegally," and everybody laughed. And I said, I wouldn't be laughing because he was setting people up then. Because he was telling you, if you don't tell us who you are, bad hombre or not. Because when he said self-report, he wasn't just referring to the bad hombre, because the bad hombre isn't going to report himself. But if you're here in the country for 10, 15 years, living, obeying the laws, please self-report. And everyone laughed and said, we're not going to do that. And then he said, okay, I'm going to come for you. It's really just that simple. Now, I remember him saying this, and people laughed at him. They said he's stupid. I said, okay. But, at a certain point, will this situation of them going after people who are here illegally and being somewhat aggressive about it, will it reach a head and will it affect the midterms? And here's the biggest thing, and I'll shut up. All of this, along with Venezuela, along with Iran, what have we stopped talking about?
Epstein.
Yep.
But the Clintons were in the news about Epstein yesterday. They refused to testify.
I don't blame them.
Right. But so Epstein is still living. But look, he ain't listen. This is like death and taxes. Ain't nobody getting out of this alive.
True.
Yeah.
And in my world, I tell people, you want to deal with taxes now, or you want to deal with taxes later. Yeah. But you're going to deal with taxes. Yeah. He going to deal with Epstein. He can kick that can down as far as create, crazy stuff all he wants, but it's going to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah. So kind of like on that, I guess, regards, does it stop? Does it slow down? Is there an intermission? Currently what I'm seeing, probably not, to be honest with you. Just kind of the overall picture of how things are going. Definitely not, At the end of the day, especially you look at Minnesota, right? They have all these leering centers, right? Leering centers that are absolutely important for these children, so they can leer, I assume. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of things that have to be drawn out. And to me, just again, I'm not left, I'm not right. I'm right in the middle. So you sit there and you look at both sides of the shit shows, I would say, in a sense, and then you just kind of digest it and then figure out, what is your perspective on how things are looking and how things are going at the end of the day. But is there a possibility of fraud going on in Minneapolis or Minnesota just in general?
It's fraud everywhere.
Oh, well, no, absolutely.
Everywhere.
Right? Absolutely. But this could be a ringer. I'm not gonna lie to you. This could be a giant ringer, knowing that these leering, not learning, but leering centers, right? These leering centers are being funded for a service that is not being executed per se. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Guess what? As you stated,
Listen,
it's
V.
everywhere.
V.
Yeah.
You familiar with organized crime?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what this is. This is
Yep.
organized crime.
Yep.
Not new here. Not new to see.
Yep.
Well, and you know what, V? To piggyback off.
Go
that,
Rico. Yep.
If
I do my history, I do my research. Absolutely. Yeah.
So V, if the government was to really look to see everyone who misused that COVID money, I don't think I got any COVID money. I got the stimulus checks. But if the government was to really check every state on who misused that money, it ain't just a Somali community. So I'm not trying to say what if, but if you're going to go after one group, then you have to kind of go after everybody equally. So it doesn't look like you're stereotyping or being prejudiced or singling out one particular group. So, the Somalis got caught. That's what it looks like initially. They got caught. But
it happens. You do crime. Look, you do crime long enough, disorganized or organized, you're eventually going to get caught.
Yeah.
People say that Congress is organized crime. From an investment standpoint, insider trading.
They haven't outlawed that
right
ability to vote on bills that they have stocks in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you look at this situation, it's been happening a long time, but it was only really outed when that young kid went to the community centers and he posted that video on, I believe it was YouTube, about the centers in Minnesota.
No, actually, they've been on them since 22. This is just a guy that decided to do a field trip. But these people have been in the system since 2022 when this fraud was first uncovered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
right.
It really came.
Well, he didn't discover anything. He's Christopher Columbus. He came across a place that was already, he got the list of the people who had committed the stuff. He didn't find them. He got the list and just started going places and checking off the list.
Yep.
And one place had a gross misspelling of the word "learn," and now that's that's the thing. That's the shiny little thing.
I think as American society, we tend to only recognize "quote unquote" things until it's like right in our face. So a lot of it's ignore background until somebody just shows it to us.
And Philip Shipley makes a great point. He says, I live in Illinois. We have fraud so bad, 2 of our governors have been in prison. I knew about
Blagojevich.
Yes. But I didn't know there was another one. I didn't know about the other one.
I think it's more than 2 in Illinois. Remember in Obama's administration, they were talking about a long list of governors' fraud throughout history. When I think it was Emmanuel was running. And I think it's more than 2, at least for Illinois. Just because.
And Richard, what Blagojevich got in trouble for? He was trying to sell Obama's seat.
Yes. Yeah.
But he claimed that he wasn't trying to do that when he explained
that's what he got in trouble for.
Okay.
Whether he was trying to do it or not, that's what he got in trouble for.
Didn't Trump pardon him?
Yes, he did.
So when people talk about Trump, always favoring, well, he is going to favor his party, the Republicans, but sometimes he'll go outside his party and help other people, because I'm pretty sure.
He did that for a guy in Texas recently, and then he wished he hadn't done it.
How do you say his last name? Blanovich? How do you say his last name?
Blagojevich.
The one in Illinois, the governor, the former governor.
Yeah,
when Trump let him out, he didn't back off that one. So, when people talk about President Trump, people are not completely wrong. They're just not completely right, because it depends really on the issue with him. But as long as you always realize that it always has to be about him, and he's got to enhance his brand and get his money for his family. As long as you understand that, then you understand President Trump. Nothing else really matters.
I don't understand his deal with Greenland.
That's about money.
Oil.
I was being laughed at.
Hey, I ain't lying to you. I went for Tiger King to get out, so here we are.
I look at Greenland like, again, this is about strategic defense, and one, he's doing it purely because he knows it does keep him in the news. The one thing he's brilliant at is staying in front of the media.
Epstein keeps him in the news.
Yeah, Epstein keeps him in the news, but we've known about Epstein for what, 10 years through different presidents. That's not necessarily news, right? Like Greenland is. It's new. It's topical. Nobody was talking about Greenland in Biden's administration. There's nobody.
Because there was
Greenland's
no reason
hardly even
to.
mentioned. But what Trump is great at is, if the Democrats want to complain about something, he'll find something else to say to the news, and they'll just talk about that. And it just drowns out anything the Democrats want to say. Just drowns it out.
Yeah, except for them Epstein files.
Fair enough. But the Epstein files had in the Biden administration, and they chose not to do anything with it.
That's not true, Alvin.
Hey,
No, it's true. Biden administration had
Sleepy
Epstein
Joe
files.
should have put him out there while his wife was signing everything else.
You all do know why they could not release those documents while Biden was in office, right?
No, why?
Because they were still going through essentially kind of like a portion of discovery, and things were sealed, so they couldn't release them just yet. They were still being held and reviewed, so they couldn't release them. Not just that, but I don't want to negate the fact or forget. I don't want any of us to forget the fact that Trump ran on releasing the files.
Yep.
That was his promise to you.
I will release the files.
But
Because he thought he could control it.
But
He
listen,
thought he could control the release.
so yeah, that's a great point, because when a person running for office tells you they're gonna release something that's so crucial to national security,
Like the death
it's
of
like
Kennedy.
alien.
The death of Kennedy? Who killed Kennedy?
Exactly. Or the aliens that were on the East Coast and they flew in on a visit on the East Coast and they got broadcast. See how I said that? They flew in on a visit. I mean, so nonchalant. Yeah.
Did they fly coach or did they fly first class?
But I'm sorry, I threw
They
us
got
off.
good health care. They're
My
providing
bad.
a good health care plan
But
by
back
extending
to,
the ACA.
but back to Greenland. Why is there such newfound need for Greenland?
There isn't. Other than distraction. In my opinion.
Wasn't there? Who was? I think somebody else was after Greenland, and we were like, "Oh no, you're not getting Greenland. We'll take that," because we already, if I remember correctly, from my Air Force days, we had a base up there.
Still, there are some bases still there.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think we got a handful of bases up there.
Yeah. So if America has military bases or installations in your country, we're never leaving.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing as taking my country.
Exactly.
That's not the same thing.
Wait a minute.
I think
Because you're right, we're in a lot of places.
Golden
listen to this.
domes.
Every time I watch Chris Cuomo,
That's right.
every time I watch Chris Cuomo, there's things that I agree with and there's things I don't agree with. And he's been pounding this for the last couple weeks. We are a nation of immigrants. No, the hell. Let me calm down. Calm down. We are not a nation of immigrants. I'm a descendant of the enslaved African. My family did not come to America as immigrants. Thank you.
They didn't go to Ellis Island.
Yeah,
Take a
okay.
picture, sign the book.
Maybe they went to Ellis Island for the slave auction up there on the East Coast.
Yikes.
If they didn't go to
So-
Virginia or Charleston, how's that?
So V, in your opinion, what is the the newfound. Well, let me not say newfound because y'all were laughing at me. Now, it was last year when they started talking about Greenland, and he was joking about it. He was laughing. I said, "Hey, this guy's for real. We've got to stop laughing or pushing off when he's saying this stuff in quote unquote just because this guy's serious with it." A year later, here we are, right?
Yeah.
So your opinion on why Greenland?
So, without getting too strategic, right? Because everything has to be strategic, and as you know, what I still do, there's probably some things I can say and some things I can't say at the end of the day. But the only thing that I will say is there has to be some kind of strategic output that's there. That's actually in any country that you possibly would see, right? That actually has a forward post per se. So there has to be something that's there, and/or some kind of NATO relationship that's there as well.
Okay, I got you. I'm picking up on what you're putting down. Brooks, what about you?
I think this is purely wanting to put up one of those Golden Dome missile defense systems in an area where Trump claims it as Russia and China would do the same thing if United States didn't do it. That's his excuse. Now, whether it's true or not, I'd like to tend to say I believe Trump on this because whether you like the guy or not, he is a pretty strategic thinker in those ways. And just purely, he used also, I don't want Russia as a neighbor. And then I was just watching some, left-leaning news where they showed Alaska and Russia as neighbors, right? Because, we all remember Sarah Palin, I could see Russia from my backyard. And so I think it is relatively along those routes as well, right? They're like, okay, how best to strategically put a system in place where that's an access point, they can stop them. Whether Denmark likes it or not, Trump is usually pretty damn good at getting what he wants eventually. And he does say stuff like we would think in general would be in jest, but he's actually saying it in fact. And he knows to the point where he can say so many outlandish things that people are just not going to pay attention necessarily. And then when he starts doing it, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I thought you were joking. Those are why you have to parse pretty much everything he says. Because he'll throw in a joke about eating McDonald's and then Greenland at the same sentence, the same paragraph, or whatever it might be. He's just having fun at the expense of people who would be trolling somebody. But actually, he's really saying part of his plan. So he's great at it.
I want to go back, and I've said this before to other people, but I want to set this record straight for Mr. Philip Shipley. When people try to say that there were Irish slaves or other white slaves, and that may be true in a small number, but let me be crystal clear. The Civil War in this country that cost more Americans their lives was not fought over no Irish slave. Okay? Anytime someone tries to diminish the impact of the enslaved African and what he or she went through on that slave ship and how there were laws written to prevent him and her from reading and writing, and laws that were prevented, that kept them from getting married.
It made them a fraction.
Okay, it made them 3/4 or 3/5 property. See, it's that type of resentment by non-African Americans, which is the same thing when Mr. Glass talks about we call ourselves a Christian nation, but yet your Christianity was based on enslaving Africans because you thought they were inferior. And even when it says in the Bible, I guess when a Jew enslaves a Jew, it's 7 years, but anybody else you can enslave for life. But that's your Christianity in you. So you took that part of the Old Testament, and then when it came to the New Testament, and Jesus said to love thy neighbor as thyself, you loving thy neighbor was to keep your slave enslaved for life. And then you fought a civil war over that situation that still has not been resolved until today. Not even today's society has not been fully resolved. So when people say that, and I know the Irish went through hell and the Italians went through hell.
Mexicans, come on, baby.
Okay, and the Mexicans too, and all the other, and the Chinese and the railroads and all that. But when you make that comment about the Irish slaves, that's like you saying that what the Jews went through in Germany, well, that's okay, get over it. Okay, that's what it feels like to me as one African American to tell a Jew in Germany, don't worry about the Holocaust, get over it. But yet Germany will not let you fly the Nazi flag or anything to do with Nazi Germany, except for the concentration camps. They keep them there as proof that the situation happened. So you can't even do certain things in Germany when it resembles Nazism. But yet in this country, they still allow you to, quote, your freedom of speech to fly the Confederate flag.
And just as another quick point of education,
sorry to go
the Irish were brought over as indentured servants. That's why that's why they ended up getting their freedom, right? So that was some totally and completely different than chattel slavery, where people were generationally slaves, right? Families from the grandfather to the stolen mother to the stolen child to the misplaced cousin who had to work on a plantation from birth till death. Then there was never freedom for a lot of enslaved Africans or their descendants. And so there's a totally different movement of indentured servitude. And a lot of that claim comes from, unfortunately, a piece of white nationalism to try and essentially downplay chattel slavery in America.
And let me finally say this. When he speaks, because I have heard of, quote, white slaves. You just don't hear about them very often. You were mainly indentured servants. But let me be crystal clear. If you're a white, you came from Europe as a slave or an indentured servant, you kept your religion, okay? You kept your Irish last name, unless you chose to drop the O off of O'Sullivan or O. Henry. You kept your last name. You kept your first name. Now, I'm gonna stay calm. I'm not gonna get loud tonight. But you kept your name, you kept your identity, you kept your Irish ways. Couldn't nobody take those Irish ways from you. And I like the Irish. But you were allowed to keep those things. But the enslaved African, his sexuality, his name, first and last name, his religion, his culture, we try to hang on to some of that culture, but all that was stripped from you. I'm done.
So let me just bring it really back in real quick, because I've got to get my babies to sleep in a little bit. Let me say this about my take on Greenland. I understand why strategically we would want to control it. God damn it, Ship, you're just gonna keep digging that grave, man. But no one today. I tell you what, Ship. What we'll do is we'll have you on as a guest. That way we can actually discuss in real American detail and history the movement of chattel slavery in America. Bring your books, bring your notes, and I'll go off the top of my head. We'll have a discussion about it. But anyway, I understand directly the strategic placement of wanting to take Greenland over, but there's something in me that continues to just be like, but if only we had allies to assist with protecting us in that area, in that region of the world. And this is a little bit of a spin and a play off of a comedian, I'll say, to assist to help America and any of the northern Atlantic regions. If we only had a group or an alliance of allies to make sure that as a group, as a unit, we strategically defended each other, maybe something like a North Atlantic treaty or trade or treaty organization, something to help us, maybe we'd be okay. I think Greenland is another pivot, right, from Venezuela, as well as the ill or misgivings about the movement in Venezuela, about the movement of troops from Qatar, because of oddly enough, the protests that are happening in Iran, that our current president is actually trying to assist and exploit and promote, while pushing our own protests down and taking money from states. Greenland, we don't need Greenland. We don't need it. We have allies there, and the arrogance and greediness of America. I don't even want to say America, because a lot of Americans are like, wait, I thought Greenland was green and Iceland was cold, and there's like a lot of Americans we don't even know anything about Greenland, right? So I think
that's very true.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Greenland is green and Iceland is cold. It's actually the reverse.
Yeah, it's the reverse.
But again, this is about where you can put your newest shiny toy, the weapon system or the defense system. And Greenland is the perfect spot. Denmark, being I guess we'll call it like Canada, like in Greenland being I guess what they call provinces in Canada. It's perfect.
Yeah.
That's why he wants it.
You know what they say? If you don't own a nuclear weapon, you'll get run.
I don't know if anybody says
Nuclear
that,
weapon
actually,
in your country, somebody will come try to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So
oh man.
Yeah. But you know what, Mr. Glass? See, when you talk about what frustrates you about this country and how we call ourselves a Christian nation, and then you have someone come on and try to equate Irish slaves to the enslaved African, that goes to show you the foundation and what they've taught their descendants afterwards. See, when they try to diminish what the enslaved African has gone through, but yet I guarantee you, Mr. Shipley won't diminish what the Jews went through in the Holocaust. That I can guarantee you he won't diminish.
Let me say this. My last name is Medeiros. And the reason why my last name is Medeiros is because it is the last name of the slave owners who owned my great grandfather, Charles Medeiros. So people are trying to figure out what I am. I'm a black man. My mom is black. My daddy's black. But my name ain't black. Because my name is the name of the folks who owned my ancestors, who killed my ancestors and filed a property claim with an insurance company. That's one of the reasons why I've been in insurance for 33 years and counting. So, and I guess always trying to figure out, what are you? And you're just doing that. You can look at me and see I'm a black man. Well, listen, because you see Medeiros behind my name, you're saying, well, what are you? Where are you from? Like Richard said, my people got brought over here centuries ago, and then the Medeiroses purchased them, bred them. So in Greenland, Texas, the Medeiroses are darker and shorter. You know why they're shorter? Because they picked cotton. So at the family reunion, I don't have to say, are you from Austin or are you from Midland? Because if you're from Austin, you're tall and light-skinned. But if you're from Midland, you're south of 6 feet and you're darker. So when they say slavery does not have an effect at the 2026 family reunion, it'll be slapping me across the face.
Yep.
I don't have to say, hey, you from Midland or Austin?
And you know what? I think we're the nicest group of black men you're going to find in America that can talk about race. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that because we'll tell you honestly, because some black folks will sit there and look you in your face and smile at you, Mr. Shipley, and not tell you how they really feel about you. That's the first thing. And then some black people go upside your head, Mr. Shipley. Now, I had a relative who got lynched. Okay, lynched. July 10th, 1897, a week after the 4th of July. They tried that night or early that morning, July 5th. They couldn't grab him, so they tried again. So I guess the second time around is the best way to do it. So when you talk about certain things, Mr. Shipley, and I know we've talked on this podcast, and a lot of people thought that I was infatuated with the white culture. No, I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to call it the way it is. Sometimes black folks are right. Sometimes black folks is wrong. Mm-hmm. Sometimes white folks are right. Sometimes they're wrong. And you're going to see all this come into play, Mr. Shipley, with this enforcement of illegal immigration. Because I do believe that we should enforce our laws and that we should control our borders. So maybe you and I agree on that. But maybe the reasons why we agree on that may be a little different. Because as Mr. Glass said months ago, well, Mr. Brown, I don't hear you talk about putting a punishment, a penalty on those companies that hire these illegal immigrants. He's absolutely right. Those companies need to be fined just as much as as hard as we're going after the illegal immigrant, trying to control the border, we should be fining those companies just as strongly, if not even more strongly. Go ahead, Mr. Brooks.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, especially about fining the companies. But again, it's those companies who just don't report, right? We've all seen the people who line up at 5 o'clock in the morning in front of a Home Depot just to do like day labor, day work, right? Most of the time, it's construction companies will just bring them, pick them up. Hey, do you want to do framing for a day for $20 an hour, right? I remember being in North Carolina for a summer, working for what I thought at the time was a film company that builds houses for films. Only I was there with a great number of Portuguese individuals framing houses for 3 months in North Carolina, hot as all hell. And learned a lot of Portuguese, not all good words, actually most of the bad words, but I could say hello and goodbye and bless you now. But nobody said a thing. And I'm a citizen. I was born in Illinois. But there was every day 15 gentlemen. We hop in the back of trucks, go right down to these houses, frame houses. I wrote my name on the frame of some houses in North Carolina, actually. Building these things. Nobody's going to say anything because that's what they need the people to do that. It's just the way it is. No company's going to out themselves.
Well, no, you make a great point, Mr. Brooks. But the bottom line is this. If we're going to go after people who come to the country illegally, we should be going after the people who hired them illegally just as strongly, and the law should be on the books.
So, Richard, what we need is an ICE for corporations.
Yes.
We need blue jackets with some kind of yellow letters on the back that are specifically targeting these companies. Not Bubba in his pickup truck swinging past the Home Depot looking for that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is you have these people that are ingrained in your payroll. You are paying them. You are withholding taxes from them that they can never collect. They are paying into Social Security and they will never benefit from it. There should be an organization specifically assembled to target corporations the way they target individual illegal immigrants. Maybe we call them KICE. I don't know.
You know what's funny about that? You get exploited. They make sure the border is open so you can come over and work for low wages. You get exploited once, and then you pay into Social Security and all that. You can't collect when you turn 65 or 70. You get exploited twice. It's almost like I'm a shareholder in a corporation.
You forgot the taxes.
Right. So if I'm a shareholder in the corporation gets taxed, and then when I get my dividends, I get taxed on that. So I'm being taxed twice as a shareholder. But if I'm an illegal immigrant, I'm being screwed twice because I'm being exploited and I can't collect when I turn 65 or 70.
In the immortal words of Ice Cube, with no Vaseline.
You got to give me a second. I wasn't expecting that. All right, Jim.
So question,
Yeah.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right, baby. Hey, enter player 5, right? So, immigration, right? So my father was born in Mexico, came to the United States, right? He received his certificate of naturalization, which means that now you're a citizen, right? 100%. Yep.
Yes.
But I was born in Mexico. He came here. He caught a white woman. Bam, 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 baby. Here I am. Let's get it, right? 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all my family members currently have a certificate of naturalization, and that doesn't mean nothing, because I know everybody from every spectrum of the Hispanic community who are going through what they have to go through, and I absolutely respect that, right? Because if you look at the dollar to peso ratio, it changes every day.
Sure.
$1 could be 36 pesos. It could be 47 pesos. Next day it could be 76 pesos. So when I was a kid, when my dad took us to Mexico, like he monitored that, and he knew. So he's like, hey, we're gonna jump in this truck. So he put me back in this nasty ass truck and dirty ass roads. Drive to a city called Zacatepec, Mexico. And guess what? He would then exchange his money to get the highest bid for our dollar, right? Coolest thing in the world. But what changed everything was the cartels, right? And I'm not trying to change the whole flow of everything, especially with this conversation here. But I would say 60% of everybody that comes over here is for the family, right? The other 40, they have a agenda per se, right? That agenda could be cartel-wise, kidnapping, all that goodness, right? But guess what? I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, you know what? Every individual who crossed that border is a bad person, because they're not. And I can attest to that because my dad was one of those individuals, right? But guess what? He did it the right way. My aunts and uncles did it the right way. So the way I look at it is, you know what? If you've done something wrong, then guess what? Get up and get out, or get caught. But for the person who owns that carniceria or that panaderia, those stores who are here to do the right thing, then you know what? We have to look at it from that frame of work. I think from my side, right? Because they built something. They literally.
Hey, D, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Do you know of any naturalized green card folks who did everything the right way and still got deported?
Currently, I do not.
Do you know they exist?
That got deported?
Yes. Do you know they exist? This is a fact.
Hold on. Do they know that they exist?
Do you know that this population of people who did everything the right way exist?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Because you were talking like you didn't know that. So that's why I asked the question.
No. So I'm saying, like my family in general.
I heard you. I heard everything you said.
Yep.
You were talking like you didn't know that this population I just brought up did not exist. You know what I remember growing up? I remember that they had amnesty for folks where you didn't have to do much.
Yep.
Those folks now, if they get caught up in the system, they're gone. DACA is a system that was established that gives you a path. Remember the path to citizenship?
Absolutely.
And then that rug keeps getting snatched out from under people and threatened to be abolished or discontinued. So it's not just, we've done a lot on immigration on this platform, and I love it because what people that I have this conversation with, they all see illegal immigrants as one group, a group of people that came across this border illegally.
Yeah.
But the bigger group is the ones who came here legally and then their legal time expired. And that's when people were forced to make tough decisions.
So, and for DACA, right? You're talking about the visas, right? The visas.
Hey, wait a minute. So I'm going to kind of partially agree with Lynn on that statement, and I'm going to totally disagree with V about 60%. I'm going to go a lot higher. And this is where I see Philip Shipley here say more than 60. I'm going to say that if people come across this border illegally, I'm going to go into the high 80s.
No,
you don't think that?
No. No,
Hold on.
Because illegally means you didn't go through that border.
No.
When you go through that border that has Mexico on one side and USA on the other side, that's illegal. That is a legal crossing.
No. Yep. What I'm saying is when he says I think more than 60% are here for their family, I'm going to say it's around 70 to 80% are for their family. You may have a few criminals here and there. Huh?
You mean what, to send money back to their family?
No, I'm saying the good people who come here illegally, I'm going to say it's in the high 70s, 80s. And the bad people, I would say 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 are bad people, cartel people who are just mischievous.
So
but the rest of these people.
And guess what? I'm not trying to interrupt you. I apologize. Well, the reason I'm saying 60, because at that point, when you look at that 70, 80, they had kids in the United States now, right? So now they're American citizens.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So now when you look at it, now they're American citizens. So in all reality, you can't deport them unless the family themselves say, hey, guess what? I'm not going to leave my child here. I'm going to take it back with me to the country that we initially came from.
Right.
But
currently are those children that were born here in the United States to people that were not legal citizens. Like, let me give you a scenario.
Good.
Let's say mom and dad, there's no baby. They cross the border seeking asylum.
Yep.
You got about a year. In that year, mom and dad get busy.
Okay.
They have a little baby.
Yep.
And then their asylum, whatever time, cycles out. And now they move from being here legally to now being here illegally.
Absolutely.
Right. These are the scenarios that nobody gives a damn about. But these are the ones. Yeah. These are the ones that capture most of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ones that come in through tunnels and coyotes, because they trickle in. That's a trickle. Yeah. The majority of people walk through that gate that says USA on one side, Mexico on the other, and at the time they walk through, they are legal.
No, wait a minute. Hold on.
Time passes.
No, wait a minute.
And they become
illegal.
Hold on a second. No. Because
of the visas.
Hold on a second. I saw what you said about seeking asylum. Most of these people who come across.
No, that was just an example. I'm not saying most came across.
It is clear. Wait a minute. It is clear that even if you come across and you got a year up to get your paperwork or whatever together, if you come across without the correct paperwork, you still came across.
No, Richard, if you went, listen, let's establish this. If you walk through that gate, that was legal. There are law enforcement people on both sides of that gate at the border. If you walk through there or if you drive through there, that is legal.
That's not true.
That's actually incorrect. Even if you're an asylum seeker, you have to go and report as an asylum seeker.
Right. That's legal.
Hey. Hold on. So
it doesn't matter if you claim to yourself as an individual to be an asylum seeker.
I'm saying, listen, everybody's deviating from the simple scenario. Walk through that gate that says USA, Mexico.
This scenario is
actually here legally, right? No one is illegally walking through that gate.
No one. Individuals who walk through that gate, one, have a work permit for whatever it is. Number two, they have a visa for maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months.
So you're not listening.
No,
they went through legal, and then their legality expired.
I'm listening.
So I hear what you're saying. So you're saying that they walk through. Okay, I got you. I hear what you're saying on that.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying. All right.
But you have to explain everything. Like there's a visa, there's a work permit, there's different things that go to it. So, but we're saying when you're legal, right, is when you jump on a boat or raft and you cross the Rio Grande, and then when you cross, all of a sudden you put your hands up and say, "Oh, look, here I am, I'm free." No, you're not, because now
that's not CV. That's not my scenario. Which this is what if you check for me, this is what typically happens. I set up a scenario, and then everybody comes in with anti-scenarios to my scenario. My scenario is this. If you walk through that gate that says U.S. on one side and Mexico on the other side, you did that legally.
Did you have paperwork when you did that?
Yes. You're not crossing through there without paperwork.
Hey,
legally.
Listen to this.
I have a driver's license.
You don't leave Mexico with paperwork to seek asylum in another country.
I have a
That's just not the way it works.
that has an expiration date.
Let him talk.
I have a legal right to drive. I'm sorry, it's not a right. It's a privilege. When my license expires, so has my privilege to drive legally. They're not too far apart. You have a date that expires.
Yeah.
And that's how most people become illegal in this country.
I spoke about this a while ago. I talked about this a while ago.
It's not in a raft across the Rio Grande.
But you didn't.
That's not how most of them become illegal.
You clarified when you spoke about this months ago about them having paperwork. But here's
Hold
on, because V was still talking, and then Brooks was saying something, and then we got.
Hey, I agree with you 100%. And I literally named off everything that you had to have, right? All you had to do is be like, if you have this, that makes it, right? All you said is, hey, guess what? Be a fucking butterfly, fly through the gate, and be like, oh, here I am. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
What I said was, if you walk through that gate, you did so legally, because you're not walking through that gate illegally.
Right.
Period.
Again, I disagree there, sir.
All the documents.
If you walk through, leaving a country,
if you walk through that door, if you walk through door number one,
with papers, yes, absolutely,
and Mexico on the other, you did so legally.
I disagree, because again, Mexico's not going to give you
it could be a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, let's hear Brooks. Let's hear Brooks out. What's the point of this agreement?
Mexico or said other country, whether it be Cuba or Colombia or whatever country it might be, is not going to be like give you a piece of paper and be like, you want to leave our country to seek asylum in a different country. They're not going to give you a piece of paper to do that, and then you just bounce. No, it doesn't work like that.
That wasn't the situation.
It's not the situation.
I understand, but like when you come seek asylum, countering the gentleman here, they typically come with nothing to say, hey, they surrender themselves. I want to seek asylum for X reasons from my previous country.
Let me push back.
Go ahead.
No, all I'm saying is when they come up, be like, oh, hey, that's cute. Get the fuck back over there.
Yeah, and some people have to stay in Mexico and wait for a hearing. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones that walk through the door. We were talking about Jewish folks not too long ago. Let me tell you what my Jewish friend told me. The only way that you are Jewish is if you come through a Jewish birth canal. That's what he told me. Puerto Ricans told me the only way you're Puerto Rican is if you're born on that island. I don't make the rules. Just listen to them and record them. And all I'm saying is, if you walk through the door that says U.S. on one side and Mexico on the other side, you did so legally. That's it.
And you know what? You're 100% right. You know what? You're an advocate for Puerto Ricans and butterflies, baby. I love it. I love it.
So, and here, this is why I don't agree with ICE or the Supreme Court ruling, although I respect it. Right? It's because they're not looking for the biggest population of people who are actually here illegally. Make no mistake about it. They're looking for people who speak Spanish or have an accent and look like they're Latino, Latinx, whatever you want to call it, Hispanic, as well as Somalian at this point. I might look like a Somali, even Haitian, right? Hell, the Somalians are being threatened to get at least 1,000 people getting their actual status revoked at this point on the whims of. So go ahead.
So it's funny you said that, because remember a couple months ago, the Supreme Court said that they could use race as one of the factors. Now, I want to jump this, and I want V and Brooks, even Mr. Shipley, I want y'all to hear me on this. I've never agreed with the fact that if you come over here illegally and you have a child, that child is considered a U.S. citizenship. That was made for the descent. This is how I say this. Listen to how I say this. The 14th due process, the 15th, all of that was for the descendants of the enslaved African, the African that was set free and their descendants, because we didn't come to the country as immigrants. So when they said if you have a child and you came here illegally, that child will get birthright citizenship, what they were referring to was the enslaved Africans, because they were brought over. They didn't come over here on their free will. Now, this U.S. Supreme Court, by no later than this June, they're going to make a ruling on this birthright citizenship. And I just wonder, with all of this confusion going on, all these people who are running from ICE, because if you're here illegally, or if you stay past your visa or whatever, you wouldn't be running from these officers. So how will the Supreme Court rule about birthright citizenship? Would they go by precedent and say, hey, if you come over here illegally and have a child, that child is given birthright citizenship as a U.S. citizen? Or are they going to say no? That's going to be a really, really.
Richard, are you now? See, what I'm asking you to do is to now include the folks who did everything right and are here legally and are getting shipped out. So yes. So if I'm here legally, I can't sit back and say, well, I'm legal, I'm good. I can't do that, because I could do, like somebody on here said, do everything right and still find my ass in a Venezuelan prison or El Salvadorian prison.
Let me answer that real quickly.
And
I said this last summer. I said there was you know what, and I know V knows this, and most Latinos know this. There was a situation back in the 1930s called Operation Wetback, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that was what they called it.
Yeah.
And they were taking Latinos in the Southwest and shipping them back to Mexico, even though they were born in America.
Yep.
So that was one isolated situation. Okay. So when you say that, Lynn, I acknowledge that you're absolutely right.
Richard, just acknowledge this. That practice never stopped.
Well,
that practice never stopped.
I'm not going to argue that.
It's just something that we're not.
Right.
Not,
so if you ship back 100 people, are you going to have at least 10 mistakes or one mistake out of that 100? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
And all I'm saying is that's why people who are here legally and did everything right, they can't sleep at night either.
Oh no, they are no longer safe. There is no safe numbers. Yeah,
you're right. But my thing is, the ICE are only doing on this particular aspect. If you look Latino, you look brown, you look like you can be speaking Spanish, and they start asking you questions, they are legally not violating the law that came from the United States Supreme Court. If you trust.
Yeah, I agree.
So, be afraid. Look at my last name on the screen, Richard. I'm in the wrong hick town in the South. And somebody say, that sounds Mexican to me. Let me haul your ass in and figure this out.
This is one of the few times where I got to tell light-skinned black. This is one of the few times, it's the only time in my life where I got to tell light-skinned black people, be safe, be careful. Stay out of Minnesota.
With that being said,
stay out of Minneapolis.
We're about to get around on horn. I can't start with me, of course, but
we'll move it over to my man V. Around the horn, 30 seconds or less. Let's get it. Last and final thoughts of the evening.
Hey, you know what? I think that we've had some really good, engaging conversation. Many good topics going through. One thing I like about being on this chat is nobody goes at each other's throat. You know, everything's professional. Really appreciate that. And I hope to be on a couple more of these and to have initial dialogue with you guys. And hey, this doggone butterflies, baby. I'll pass it on.
All right. Listen, I love having you on, man. And you know you always good with me, bro. Brooks, you up next.
Gents, once again, happy 2026. It's going to be an awesome year. Love the discussion. Tend to disagree with a former gentleman who's just speaking, but you know what? That's okay. I love that. Because that's how you learn. That's how you get better. That's how you grow, and that's how you communicate. That's if we don't do this, then we were stuck in this quagmire of division all the time, and that can't be as a functional society. So this is a healthy thing. It's a healthy exercise. That's why I hope a lot of people listen. Whether you agree or disagree, that's not the point. You're able to actually have an opinion, back it up by some facts, and then be respectful in your discourse to maybe somebody who disagrees with you.
That's great. Thank you, my brother. As always, I appreciate you. Lynn.
Likewise.
I had a good time tonight. I learned some things. I listened. And I'll piggyback on what Brooks said. I think that the only way we make progress in this world is having discussions. You know, I've been able to educate people who don't look like me about the struggle. And because I don't struggle, you know, people feel like I don't understand it. I understand the struggle. I figure out a way to struggle less than most. But one of those ways is to learn and listen and get educated and get informed about how this game is played. Because every country has a different game. No two countries are alike. And if you've been in the military, you know that better than anybody. No, you know, it is the way the world is set up. And I've made this comment before. Everybody on this podcast knows somebody who's left-handed. Think about how many times they complained about the world being set up for right-handed people. They don't. You know what they do? They figure out a way to navigate being left-handed in a right-handed world. And those are the people that are more successful versus somebody sitting there complaining and saying, I can't believe this world is set up for right-handed people. What am I going to do? Because you're not going to make any progress, in my opinion, living your life that way. So I don't know how many people that we are able to touch and give them a different perspective and a different point of view. But I just really appreciate being a part of this process. And I'm going to give you the Hollywood apology. If I offended anyone with my tone of voice and my passion, I sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart. God bless America.
Then that's awful. Straight awful, bro. Straight awful.
That's awesome. Kudos.
Rich.
All right. I'll try to be quick. First of all, let me say this to Mr. Shipley. I hope you come on because I'm an easy person to get along with. There are certain things that pique my interest. But I'm not a person that makes complaints. I'm a person that points out facts, just like Mr. Medeiros. I also have to say the same thing he said. I know my tone can be intimidating. If I've offended anyone from the time I started on this podcast over a year ago, I ask you to forgive me. Because I am not prejudiced or bigoted or, racist towards other people. But I do love who I am, And I love the fact that even though I may be a descendant of the enslaved African, that's okay. And even though the country that I serve honorably may not believe in me, that's okay too. Mr. Brooks took a word I used to say when I was younger, quagmire. For those who don't know, quagmire means confusing, messy, hard to get out of. Excellent word, Mr. Brooks, because that's where this country is right now. We're in a quagmire. We're in a turning point. This is a modern day civil war, and nobody knows which way is up. With that being said, I still wish Renee Nicole Good was alive. Was she interfering or was she not interfering for her to lose her life in the way that she did? I don't like that. I don't. So my prayers still go out to her and her family. I hope they can deal with this loss. I hope that people will stop interfering with law enforcement as well. And when people say, we don't want you here, we don't want you enforcing the law. So if you don't want them enforcing that law, what laws do you want them to enforce versus what laws you don't want them to enforce? Because you can't handpick what laws to enforce. If you don't want to enforce all the laws, then you shouldn't have no laws. But if you don't have no laws, we won't have no United States of America. We won't need Greenland or Venezuela or anyone else. We'll be a lawless society. And I don't think we want that, regardless of our foundation of sexism and racism and capitalism and somewhat religious tolerance. I don't think we want that. I still believe in this country. I have not given up on this country. So to all Americans, whether you're here legally or illegally, undocumented or documented, I still have hope that tomorrow will be a better day. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That's good.
Awesome.
Back in between 1985 and 1987, a group called Tears for Fears came out with a smash hit that rocked the world when the lyrics went something like, half of freedom and of pleasure, nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. The original lyrics actually say, everybody wants to go to war. Ooh. And the reason why those lyrics say that is because that song is actually talking about, it's an anti-war song. Mm-hmm. As America begins to beat continuously, I don't even want to say America, some Americans and our president continue to beat the drums of war. Most Americans have never experienced the hardships of war. The glory that is shown on TV about going to a foreign land and dying is a lie. There's nothing better than staying at home in your homeland with your family and passing that way. When you begin to position yourself as a country or a people of war, and you are always ready to accept what that looks like, you have done two things. The first thing is you have become a robber of innocence. And the second thing is you have reduced your moral sense to absolutely nothing. War demands everything and gives back nothing. And if this is the thing that we wish to promote again, I have to tell you all, your deity is on full display and being judged by others. And remember that as you interact with every other human that you come across, regardless of who they look like, your deity is always on full display. You are an external expression of the internal interaction of your relationship with your God. And if the only thing you know how to do is kill people, then Jesus makes sense. With that being said, my friends, I would like to always thank our panelists. I appreciate y'all. I learned so much from y'all. It's ridiculous. That's why at times I will be quiet because I'm listening to how everything is shaping up and I'm getting a new perspective from it. I absolutely love the Pulse. I love it, and I appreciate everybody that hops on to it. I know my kids are probably tired of hearing me talk. Well, My oldest daughter walks out the room and waves me off. But as always, gentlemen and American, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to hang out with us tonight. And for that, I greatly appreciate it. God bless and good night.